a Nazi group, anti-black, white supremacy? Do they care every time they open a Twitter space, a Pan-African Twitter space, and claim that all those specific groups that are fighting their country for delineation is anti-black? Do they care about that? When they keep making those statements over and over and repeatedly, don't they realize that they support the enemy? Do they care? Do they care to evaluate it that they just may be helping the enemy? Every time they get on a public app and talk negative about delineation, do they care about that? Do they care every time they get on a public app and talk negative about reparations? Oh, they're never going to get it. America's never going to give you reparation. Well, I want each of you persons who have spent a quality amount of time telling the Negroes and the Black Americans and the Freedmen and the ADOS and the LPA that they're never going to get reparation. I want you to contact CARICON. Contact CARICON and inform them that the Caribbeans and the continent would never get reparation. Let's just be fair and balanced across the board. Have any of you done that? I just want to ask the question. Since you spend so much quality time getting on a public app and making it very clear that America is never going to pay reparations, that these human beings don't have the right to fight for delineation. You don't have any problem doing that. So why don't you open a Twitter space and put in a title that you are denouncing your ethnicity? Each of you can get on a public app and denounce your ethnicity. Say, I denounce my ethnicity Jamaican. I denounce my ethnicity Haitian. I denounce my ethnicity Bahamas. I denounce my ethnicity Nigerian. And then you can proceed to denounce your national origin. I denounce my national origin Jamaican. I denounce my national origin Haitian. And then you can proceed to denounce your nation. Say, I denounce my nation Jamaican. I denounce my nation Haitian. So what is stopping you folks is, since you're so angry and you're crying 24/7 about Negroes and Black Americans and freedmen and ADOS and LPA, the fighting for delineation, well, what's stopping each of you for denouncing your ethnicity, from denouncing your national origin, from denouncing your nation? What is stopping you? Since you got such a problem and you're so offended that those specific groups want to delineate and want to fight their country, if those persons want to die for reparation, why do you have anything to say about that? Folks are exposing themselves. Negroes, Black American who descend from their ancestors who were slaves in America, and freedmen and ADOS and LPA maybe make up 50 million persons. Why is all the fixation on that 50 million? Something is wrong there. Why is all the focus and all the attention on that 50 million when Jamaican has more than 50 million persons? They have 100 million, 200 million that double that 50 million. Why the continent has way more than 50 million persons. So why is the focus not on how to help the continent unify with each other? Why is not the focus to help Jamaicans unify with each other? Why is not the focus to help Haitians unify with each other? Why is everybody got their focus on that 50 million? Can anyone answer that? Why is the lying narrative being painted that they are being division? That little 50 million persons is causing division. But what is stopping Jamaicans to unify with each other? What is stopping Jamaicans to gather their number count? What is stopping Haitians from gathering their number count? What is stopping Haitians from unifying with each other? What is stopping Nigerians from unifying with all the thousands of tribes on the continent? What is stopping those persons from unifying with each other? No, everybody, all of these persons around the world is focused on 50 million human beings. Why is that? Why is Pan-African so focused on that 50 million? When you got a whole nation over in Jamaica to focus your energy on. It would make more sense for the Jamaicans and the Haitians to unify with each other and help the Negro and the Black Americans and the Freedmen and the ADOS and the FBA fight over here in America so that we could help these other nations tear down their corrupt government. But that's not taking place. Folks are spending their waking moments attacking 50 million, a specific group of 50 million persons. When all of these other nations have an ethnicity, a recognized ethnicity, they have a national origin, they have a nation, they have three things that those five Pacific groups do not have. America stole Negroes' birthright. America stole Black Americans' birthright. America stole freedmen birthright. America stole ADOS birthright. America stole FBA birthright. Those five Pacific groups do not have a recognized ethnicity. Those five Pacific groups do not have a national origin. Those five Pacific groups that have been harmed in America do not have a nation. But L.B. Johnson did say it was two nations in America. There's a Negro nation and an American nation over here. But folks don't recognize it. Immigrants that come from Jamaica don't even say the word. They don't even acknowledge that Negro was the ethnicity for well over 300 years. That's how Negroes identified when they came out of slavery. Negro slavery was recorded as Negro slavery for 246 years. So why do all these immigrants that come to America just assume that everybody is African American? Why do they make that assumption? Don't they recognize that's being disrespectful? If I went to Africa, I could not assume that every person over there is Ethiopian. I could not make the assumption that every person is Nigerian. It would be my responsibility to hear that person say out of their mouth how they identify, what is their birthright, what is their identity. And then I'm supposed to remember it every time I have an exchange with them. But that level of respect is not shown to Negroes and Black Americans who are descendants of slaves and freedmen and ADOS and FBA. That level of respect is not shown. Why is it not shown? These immigrants would get on a public app and constantly call everybody African American. They would call everybody Black American. Everybody who descends from an ancestor that was a slave do not identify as Black American. Every person who descended from an ancestor who was a slave do not identify as African American. I'm going to repeat again. Negro slavery came first for 246 years. It came first before any of these other terms were used. And people know this because they can do the research. They clearly know Negro slavery lasted 246 years. So what came first cannot be replaced later on. It can never be replaced. So Negro slavery came first for 246 years. After slavery ended, persons still had Negro on a birth certificate, marriage license, and death certificates for the next at least 105 years up until 1970. Count the years. That's about 105 years more. So when you total up the 246 years plus the 105 years, you have well over 350 years that Negro was the ethnicity / race / identity, until America decided they wanted to wash the blood off of their hands and change it to Black American and change it to African American. So America decided in 1970 that they were going to have a problem to pay that debt. And so they knew if they did not remove Negro, they were going to have to. I went to Africa. I could not assume that every person over there is Ethiopian. I could not make the assumption that every person is Nigerian. It would be my responsibility to hear that person say out of their mouth how they identify, what is their birthright, what is their identity. And then I'm supposed to remember it every time I have an exchange with them. But that level of respect is not shown to Negroes and Black Americans who are descendants of slaves and freedmen and ADOS and FBA. That level of respect is not shown. Why is it not shown? These immigrants would get on a public app and constantly call everybody African American. They would call everybody Black American. Everybody who descends from an ancestor that was a slave do not identify as Black American. Every person who descended from an ancestor who was a slave do not identify as African American. I'm going to repeat again. Negro slavery came first for 246 years. It came first before any of these other terms were used. And people know this because they can do the research. They clearly know Negro slavery lasted 246 years. So what came first cannot be replaced later on. It can never be replaced. So Negro slavery came first for 246 years. After slavery ended, persons still had Negro on a birth certificate, marriage license, and death certificates for the next at least 105 years up until 1970. Count the years. That's about 105 years more. So when you total up the 246 years plus the 105 years, you have well over 350 years that Negro was the ethnicity / race / identity, until America decided they wanted to wash the blood off of their hands and change it to Black American and change it to African American. So America decided in 1970 that they were going to have a problem to pay that debt. And so they knew if they did not remove Negro, they were going to have to figure out how to avoid paying a debt. So they said, well, the way that we can avoid paying a debt is to change the ethnicity on the birth certificates that we've been putting Negro and on the marriage license and the death certificate. We're going to change that to Black American and African American. And then on top of that, we're going to let every immigrant that come into America with brown skin, we are going to allow them to claim that same box. So we're going to make sure we do everything in our power to harm that Pacific group. First, we're going to rob them of their birthright and just give them another identity. But that identity that we are going to give them is described as a black racial group. We're not Pacific. They don't have a Pacific identity. They don't have a Pacific national origin. They don't have a Pacific nation. So we're just going to make up some general definition called black racial group of Africa, and we're going to stamp it on them. While we're going to make sure we respect all these other nations, we're going to recognize their ethnicity. We're going to recognize their national origin. We're going to recognize their nation. But these other Pacific individuals that belong to one of these 5 Pacific groups, we're going to continue to harm them by denying them of a birthright, by denying them of an ethnicity, by denying them of an identity. And on top of doing that, we're going to allow other folks to cosplay them. We're going to allow other folks to pretend they are the same people, that they come from the same bloodline, all because they have the same skin color. We're going to allow that because we know it's going to harm those 5 Pacific groups. We know it's wrong. We clearly know it's wrong, but we're going to do it because we want to make sure that those 5 Pacific groups that descend from slavery must continue to stay at the bottom. So that's where we at. But I'm going to get back to Atara and Tamara. And all these persons who I have put their name in my title, if you got on a public app and made statements or comments that is harmful to Negroes, I have a right to respond to you publicly. If you chose to get on a public app and make harmful statements of my well-being and my existence and my survival, I have a right to get on a public app and respond to you publicly. I have a right to do that. Because I didn't put a gun in your head and make you say out your mouth the negative comments that was harmful to my existence. For you to get on a public app and try to label everyone in the FBA a KKK, you have not met every person that identifies as FBA, but you person don't have a problem getting on a public app and labeling those persons KKK and Nazi. Have Heartbreaker and Anti-Socialite met every person that identifies FBA and went up to them and asked them directly how they feel about other immigrants? Have you persons went and met millions and millions and millions of persons and asked them directly, how do you feel about immigrants? Have you ever used the word terror? Have you ever talked down about immigrants? Heartbreaker D, Anti-Socialite, Fahima, Nikki Barnes, have each of you persons ever took the time to go meet all of those millions of persons that you are labeling, that you've taken upon yourself to label in public a hate group, to label those persons as anti-black, to label those persons as KKK, to label those persons as Nazi, to label those persons as white supremacy? Have you met those persons? When you took the time to get on a public app and paintbrush all of them, all because you don't like Tariq Nasheed, all because you personally have a problem with certain individuals that you know personally that identify as FBA, you took upon yourself to say, I'm going to paint all those persons in a negative light because I have a dislike to this person and that person and that person and that person, but I don't know all those millions of persons, but because I have a disagreement and a dislike for these persons that I know directly, I am going to take the liberty to label all of them as KKK, all of them as Nazi, all of them as anti-black, all of them as white supremacists. You done that. I only recently used the word cheddar for the first time in my life in the last month when I put those persons' name in my title with cheddar, with the word cheddar. But if these individuals can get on a public app and call and label persons anti-black, why am I wrong to label them? See, I'm not doing a paintbrush. I'm doing individual names because I don't believe in paintbrushing everybody. I believe in doing the fair way. That if I feel a certain way about an individual, I need to be direct about the individual person that I'm speaking about. I don't need to do a paintbrush of millions of persons because I have a disagreement with individuals that I know by name. I know these persons by name. I have listened to them for months and months and months and months in public apps. So why should I avoid stating their direct name? Why should I avoid mentioning their exact name? Why should I do that? But I will say again, if Pan-Africans and Atara and those who know who they are can get on a public app and label individuals divisive because they want to delineate, if they have the right to get on a public app and label millions of persons as being divisive because they want to delineate, then I should have a right to respond to them publicly. Fair is fair. Fair is fair. If they can get on a public app and make whatever any statement that they want, then I should have the right to respond to them publicly. Because no one other than what recently happened cannot find any screenshots, any post where I was calling anyone Tetter. Other than this past recent, all these recent rooms that I made has been the recent time that I finally hit a breaking point. I really did. And I can admit to that. I can own up to it. I finally hit a breaking point in an anti-socialite room one night. I said enough is enough. I have never called anyone a Tetter. But I cannot sit here and continue to listen to individuals who defend immigration and these persons claim to care about their community. It's a disconnect there. There's no way in God's name that any brown skin or dark brown skin person can defend immigration and then claim they care about their community, that they care about their children and grandkids. It's no way humanly possible because the facts are the facts. It's not enough resources to go around. Aside from all of that, if you just want to remove the money factor, America has weaponized immigration since 1865, and no one can deny that. So why would any brown skin or dark brown skin person be in the 21st century defending it? I need for someone to send me the information to explain why any person coming from the African continent, any person coming from Jamaica, any person coming from Haitian, any person coming from the Bahamas, any person coming from wherever you're coming from, wherever your nation is, and you came to America, why in God's name would you be defending immigration when you have been forced to leave your birthplace? Why would you do that? Why would you defend it? Because it's got to be a reason. It's got to be a reason, because it's clear for decades and centuries, all these nations have invaded these other nations and caused destruction and murder and forced those people to have to immigrate to another country. So, am I missing something? Can someone explain to me, could I possibly be missing something in my evaluation? Because I am clearly open to anyone explaining to me why any person with brown skin and dark brown skin would be defending immigration. Because America has let in less than 5%. You can go to Google and search for the information. It's not a secret. America, I can't speak for any of these other countries, but America has barely let in less than 5% of brown skin and dark brown skin with a visa into this country. Now, it would make sense to me that if America was letting in 30% or 40% of brown skin and dark brown skin individuals, then maybe I would be supporting immigration. But because then I would know that persons with my skin color would be allowed into America after America destroyed their country, would be allowed into America at 30%, 40%, then I would halfway think it was fair. I would halfway be able to evaluate that maybe, just maybe, it's a little bit fair. But America's not doing that. 90% of immigrants that come to America don't have dark brown skin. They don't come from brown nations. Am I confused? Am I incorrect? Can anybody send me the information that's different than the information that I researched on Google? Because when I did my research, it was less than 5%. Now, could I be wrong? I don't mind being corrected. I do not mind being corrected. So, knowing that America is not allowing persons with my skin color to come to this country for a better life, aside from the way it has harmed my ancestors and me for 61 years, I would halfway be supportive if America was simply being fair and allowing 30% or 40% of persons with my skin color to come to America with a visa. But America's not doing that. So, it would make no sense for me to be in support or defending immigration. First of all, I'm not going to support it because it murdered my ancestors. Second of all, it has harmed me for the 62 years that I've been on this earth. Third, it's a part of America's agenda to genocide, continue genocide of my people from my bloodline, Negro. I'm gonna let everyone else speak for themselves. They do an excellent job of speaking for themselves. Black Americans do an excellent job of speaking for their birthright. Freedmen do an excellent job of speaking for their birthright. ADOS do an excellent job of speaking for their birthright. FBA do an excellent job of speaking for their birthright. So I'm speaking for Negro because I'm a Negro. I can't speak for anyone else. Those are my three reasons why I would never support immigration. I will name them again. Number one, it murdered. America used immigration to murder my ancestors. Number two, America has harmed my life for more than 54 years. Number three, America is continuing to orchestrate a genocide with the agenda of immigration. And there's clear proof of those facts. I ain't got to lie about it. There's concrete proof of those three reasons that I gave. I'm going to repeat it again. It's concrete proof of the three reasons that I gave that I'm against immigration. Do that mean that I'm against other brown skin and dark brown skin persons? No. I am against America using immigration as a weapon, and that includes America using your body to harm my body, my existence, my survival. Now, I am not blaming you. I'm not blaming any brown skin or dark brown skin person that come from Jamaica, Haiti, the Bahamas, the continent, and around the world. I am not blaming not one of you. But I'm clearly going to evaluate and blame America how they're weaponizing immigrants to harm me. I'm not dumb and blind. I'm not dumb and blind, and I clearly understand how to evaluate information fairly. Now, if you take that personally and your feelings are hurt, I'm sorry. I'm sorry if your feelings are hurt that I have the ability to evaluate how America has harmed my ancestors and me, and now my child and my community for well over 150 years. I have the ability to research that fairly and honestly and evaluate it and come to a conclusion. Am I doing that to hurt your feelings? No. I'm doing that because of my own personal well-being. I have the right to protect my well-being. I have the right to protect my child's well-being. I have the right to fight for my community's well-being. I have a right to do that because I'm a human being. But it's just downright shameful. It's downright shameful that all immigrants that have brown and dark brown skin, why you persons have not gathered your number count, I don't know. Why Negroes and Blk Americans and freedmen and ADOS and LPA have not gathered a number count in the past 40 years, I don't know. Why are we in the predicament that we're in? We don't have well over 40 years to build a database, to build an email list, to build a text list, to build a Facebook group, to build a Twitter community, to build an Instagram group. We don't have well over 40 years to try to gather our number count. We should know whether we have 1 million persons, 5 million persons, 10 million persons, 15 million persons trying to get on the same page daily. Why are we not doing that? Why is all the Pan-African people, why you people not gathering your number count? Since you claim that you care about unity, what is your number count? Is it 10 of you on the same page? Is it 20 of you? Is it 30? Where is the number count? So in closing, Atara, tomorrow, Black Greatness 666, and all you persons who know your names, you got on a public app and made statements about me. You made statements, harmful statements that harm my community and my bloodline, because we don't all come from the same bloodline. We may have the same skin color or similar skin color, because none of us have the exact same skin color. We may have similar skin color, but for all of you, Atara, Tamara, Black Great 666, and all of you who know who you are, who made public statements and painted negative narratives about individuals who wanted to fight their country for their delineation. You made it public. You made your comments publicly, so you got a response publicly. What? Isn't that fair? Isn't it fair? Isn't it fair if you can get on a public app on Twitter and make any comment you want, no matter how harmful it is, and paint any negative narrative that folks should not be fighting for delineation, folks should not be fighting for reparations because it's causing division. Well, if you have the right to make those statements and those comments, then those persons who are being harmed by your statements and comments, they have the right to respond publicly, and it's not harassment. I mean, ironically, now that I think about it, maybe you persons are harassing those persons who want to delineate, because it looks like you have spent more than a year telling those persons that they're never going to get reparation. You've been telling those persons they don't have the right to delineate, because you are delineating and you are anti-black. Because you are delineating, you don't want unity. Because you are fighting for delineation, you are causing division. You are causing separation. So you don't have a right to fight for your delineation. You do not have a right to fight for your birthright. I'm telling you that you do not have that right. You do not have the right to fight for your reparations. While they are busy, while their reparations are being fought for by CARICON, they don't care to talk about that. I have yet to hear any of these persons complain that CARICON reparation does not include Negroes and Blk Americans and freemen and ADOS and LBA. I have yet to hear any of them complain about that. But they have all the time in the world to complain about folks who want to fight for their ancestors' reparations. They have all the time in the world to fight, to cry about folks who want to delineate their birthright. They got all the time in the world to talk about that. Well, it seems like to me, who is harassing who? Now that I really reflect on it, now that I really reflect on y'all words, because no one can dig up any proof where I have harassed anyone to the degree that you persons have chose to get on a public app and talk and paint negative narratives about the word delineation. Can anyone produce any recordings where I made false statements, lying statements, but send me that recording? Atara, send me the screenshots of where you got proof that I have been harassing you for a year. Send me the proof. If you can show me the proof, I will certainly own up to it and apologize to you. I will, publicly. If you can show me those screenshots, because you made that statement in your room tonight for 51 minutes, that you have proof that I have been harassing you for well over a year, since July of 2023. So show me, post the screenshot, and I will apologize to you publicly. Because I don't think it's been no year. And even when I count the number of times that I put your name in my title, I'm sure it's less than 15 times. Now, I do broadcast to Twitter and YouTube at the same time. But if you can show me proof where your name has been on my timeline for more than 15 times, then I will apologize to you. I'm a person of my word. If you can show me screenshots of Tara, and tomorrow, if you can show me proof that I have posted your name in my title for more than 15 times, I think it needs to at least be around 10 or 15 times before you can claim harassment. I think that makes, but I can't count the number of times that a Tara has said on a public stage that she never disrespected me. I can't count that. I can't count the number of times that Black Greatness lied on me in his Twitter space. Flat out lied on me. I ain't never said any lie about Black Greatness 666. I've never said a lie about Tara. I've never said a lie about any Pan-African person. If anyone can show me proof that I did that, I am going to apologize and own up to that information publicly. I want anyone to send me a screenshot where I did that. I don't think you have that screenshot, because I know me. I know myself. And I know good and darn well I do not have amnesia. I know I don't think it's been more than 10 to 15 times that I put a Tara name in my title. And each time that I put her name in my title, at least the first couple of times, I explained to her why I put her name in my title. I said, Tara, you have disrespected me that night when I was in that room with you. It was only 6 people, and you kept calling me Blk American. And since that happened, Tara has ran around denying that she disrespected me, lying on my character and calling me a bald-faced liar when I have no reason to lie about her. She sat on that stage that night. Her and 50 was in that room with me late at night. It was only 6 people. 6. It wasn't a whole lot of people. It was kind of late at night. I think it was somewhere before 3 a.m. It was only 6 of us. I simply told 50 and Tara that I choose to identify as Negro. I don't remember what 50 response was, but I clearly remember what Tara response was, because she has done it before when I had went into Black Greatness 666 space. She has come off of her microphone a few times when I was in those spaces with her, and she deliberately called me Blk American. The same way Black Greatness 666 will constantly tell me I'm African American or Pan-African or Black American. Like they have the liberty to tell me how I choose to identify. They have done it. Most of them cannot deny that well over a year they've been doing that. But then they have the audacity to get on a public app and cry that I am harassing them. They got the audacity after more than a year of them opening Twitter space after Twitter space and telling people that they are anti-Black because they don't agree with Pan-African. They are anti-Black because they don't identify as African American. They are anti-Black because they want to delineate. They are anti-Black because they fighting for reparation. These same people are crying that I have been harassing them. Well, send me the screenshots and I will post it, and I will apologize and accept accountability. If you can show me proof that I have been posting your name or made any recording statement that lied on you, if you can send me that information, I am going to respond to it publicly and take accountability and apologize and own up to it. I want to see the proof. Seeing as how Atara and Tamara sat in a room for 51 minutes saying all the statements out their mouth, and I recorded it just in case they decide to delete it. I have already taken the time to record it, seeing as how I may need that information when I go to court to show proof of character assassination. To show proof of character assassination, I'm going to save that recording, because I clearly know I have not opened no Twitter space on Twitter or YouTube where I said one lie out my mouth about any of them. They don't have that recording. If they have that recording, then send it to me. And like I stated before, I will publicly own up to it. I will publicly apologize and take accountability. So if you got that proof, then send it to me, because I'm a person of my word. I'm a person of my word. And now that you persons took the time to record a room for 51 minutes, I have 51 minutes of proof of character assassination. You didn't say my name specifically, but you made the mistake of sending me the recording. You made the mistake of making those comments on my notifications, because not one of you have any proof where Who Did You Boycott lied on you on an audio recording. Not one of you have any proof beyond me putting your name. Now, Tamara, I only put her name in my title 2 or 3 times. Atara, I put her name in my room title first because she called me Blk American. I asked her politely to come to my room and let us talk about it woman to woman. She didn't come. But she wants to invite me to come to her room. But I personally came to the Pan-African space more than 1 time, more than 2 times, more than 3 times, more than 4 times, more than 5 times to try to have a civil conversation with them. And during that exchange, they always made it clear to me that I was anti-black because I did not choose to want to identify as Blk American. They made it very clear that I was anti-black because I did not agree with Pan-African. I was anti-black because I did not support immigration. That I was against immigrants. So they have the ability to paint whatever narrative that they want. But I want them to send me the proof. If they got the proof, I'm going to post it. And I'm going to take accountability. If they got the proof, I'm a person of my word. I will apologize and I will own up to what I said I did. If I am wrong, I am going to accept accountability for that. Because that's the way my mother raised me, and that's the standard that I hold myself to. They made, for 51 minutes, they threw out all assumptions about my character. Just went down a whole laundry list. Just went down a whole laundry list of accusations about my character. All because I put a person name in a title. but they're not going to hold themselves accountable for painting FBA as a hate group. And the sad part about it, every time they call FBA a hate group, they are hurting all of us with brown skin. Because America and KKK and all those persons who are racist, when I walk out my